got new shoes. My other ones, I'm going to have to find a patch of soil to dig to bury them in. I don't want to show you my old shoes. Actually, let's go on that trajectory. Aren't shoes amazing? They put up with a beating day after day, right? They smell. You just stuff them in the corner. Good morning. So, you think about God and creation and God's motivation for creation, and you think about the love that God must have had, the creative force and power of love that God must have had to create all of creation and create Adam and Eve. And what was God longing for, do you think? What was God looking for in that relationship? What do you think? Huh? Love, family, joy, relationship, true love. So for God, the act of creation itself is the greatest love story. And we think of human history since the fall. We talk about restoration. We talk about the journey that God and humanity have gone to recreate, or to restore, to come back to that original idea, that original feeling, that original goal. And you know, I notice how complicated human beings tend to make things, right? I don't know, maybe we find more value in solving complicated problems, so we create lots of complicated problems. That's certainly how it is in Italy. They're so good at solving problems last minute that they're continually creating ones so that they can exercise their skill set. Not that Italy's the only place. It's just that I worked there for a while. And you think of it as a love story, it's a little different than that, because what God is bringing us back to is not complicated, actually. Everything around it seems to be somewhat complicated, but the idea of a love story, you know, between God and humanity, between Adam and Eve, that story was the beginning of the biggest K-drama ever written. So, you know, I think before when I was here, I shared with you about Elder Perry and his visit to IPEC, didn't I? Did I share that with you? And he was so moved, and when Reverend Dew gave him the necklace, you know, the 12 gates, he's still wearing it. The leather strap is so shredded, I think he wears it in the shower. He wears it proudly on top of his clothes, even when he's preaching. And he was really moved by something that he saw here. Certainly, if you look at IPEC externally, it's a beautiful building. But he commented on his experience going to that place. Before getting out of the car, he felt some spirit. And when he was in the building, he felt this, he was overwhelmed by what he felt, not just by what he saw. So when we invited him to come to New York, you know, you saw a little bit about the video. Everybody understands, you know, we have this concert now every year, but we connected it this time to the City of Refuge, pick up an instrument instead of a gun. So I think you all know, I'll assume you all know about that and the fundraiser there. But their choir director, Jason McGee, and their musical director, Marcus, and their youth pastor, Brandon, and their co-pastor, Elder Edwin Perry, all flew out to New York to participate in that. Now, it's not easy because Bishop Jones, who also wanted to be there, had been previously booked for months to be in South Africa. So Bishop Jones was in South Africa, And his co-pastor, I mean, the guy responsible for running the church needed to be in LA. But somehow he found a way for someone not only to preach, but to cover for him in terms of the whole operation. So he was able to, so he asked me, when shall I come? And I'm, well, if you can have some extra time, come out early. Oh, yeah, that would be great. So he flies to New York on Thursday and stays all the way through till Sunday. So you saw some pictures of him speaking on Saturday and speaking on Sunday. Sunday was his birthday. And he celebrated it with us at Family Fest. We had a cake. We did it on, we gave him a gift, gave him Father's autobiography and some other things. So I've been having this really interesting experience with him. He was really the guy that made it all happen. But we only met him about 80 days ago. I mean, when we walked in there the first time, we actually went in with Curtis Farrow and Simon, the production team, and he looked at us, Reverend, and he was like, so, who are you guys, and what is it you want to bring 10,000 people in? What kind of an event is this? Like, he was really kind about it, And once he started to understand it, he's like, oh, maybe we can bring, maybe we can bring 300 people from City of Refuge. He figured, just those that are diehards there at every event will come, plus a few more. But as we worked with him, through this common goal, we were creating a common base, and every other day with him, oftentimes discussing very practical things. Practical things are beautiful because they give you an excuse to relate to one another. And we built, together with the whole LA team, Larry Krishnick, it was a big team effort, but it was really a co-hosted event with City of Refuge for April 6th. And Elder Perry was at the center of all of that. I don't know how much you know, but he really was at the center of all of that. He made it happen. And so we're developing that kind of relationship. So he comes to New York, and he's already blown away. I mean, did I not tell you last time? They're blown away by what happened on April 6th. So this is after his trip to IPEC. Then, oh my God, they don't see that happening in their church. They don't see that happening. They might fill the room, but they've never seen that happen. So it blew them all away. So now we're coming to New York. It's just, last weekend, the weekend before last, Memorial Day weekend. And he lands. He's so sweet, too, because he's been to New York a couple of times before, but it was like this, just in and out, airport and out. And so, what do you want to do? Oh, I'm with you. Whatever I'm with you. Wherever you're going, I'm going. And actually, the one thing he really wanted to do in New York City was ride the subway. So did any of you see that video on Facebook that I posted asking who can guess what it is that he really wants to do, wins $100? That was George Kazakis, Pastor George in LA. He guessed that it was riding the subway. So it was riding the subway, and we did ride the subway. I don't think we really rode the subway that he was imagining, because he's imagining all the film. He's like, there's buskers in the subway, and then there's some flash mob that gets on the carriage, halfway through, and it's New York and it's grimy. But we actually we rode the subway from Staten Island Ferry to Canal Street, which is kind of like a yuppie part of it's all kind of clean and glitzy. But he still got some photographs. So what did we do? I'll just walk you through it, okay? We land there. You've got musicians flying from all over the world, all over America, to participate in this Hyojung concert. And now it's Thursday night, pick him up Friday, meet him early for breakfast at TikTok Diner in the New Yorker, The night before, when I was getting him into the hotel, he was thinking, so he was still thinking, like, where are we going to meet tomorrow? He's imagining the concerts over there, our headquarters over there, and this is just a hotel that we put him up. But as we're going up the elevator, I'm like, no, this is our hotel, this is our headquarters, and the venue where we're going to be performing is next door. And he's like, oh, so it's all here. I say, yeah, it's all here. It's like, wow. And, Tal put him up in this, we have some really nice suites. I've not seen them before, but he was given a very nice suite, and he's like, oh, it'd be great if I have a view, you know. So it turns out on the 30th, he's got a terrace, a view of the Empire State Building. It's a fancy hotel, you know, and he's got this beautiful suite. So he's settled in. I pick him up, meet him early in the next day, Friday morning. This is TikTok Diner, you know, very convenient. Stick to the basics. My rule is, if you're going to a diner, just order breakfast. Don't try order anything fancy, because it's hit or miss. So we ordered breakfast. My wife was with us. Milhan Stevens was with us, just the four of us. And we got deep, like a 2-hour conversation about Christianity, the Christian church. It was great. I'll share that with you another day. But then it was tour time. So we went out. We went to Staten Island. My first time. I felt really bad my wife wasn't with me. It was kind of a romantic trip. We hooked up with Luca Gucci and also Shuji Hata and his wife. That's the guitarist. Did you see him? He's amazing. And also Woo Ah-han. Did you see Woo Ah-han? You know, she's the cute little Korean. She's actually half Korean, half Japanese. Kind of, not K-pop, I'd say like cute pop. And she's writing her own songs. She's quite well known now in Korea. She's got quite a following on YouTube. And she's written some singles. So she was with us in this tour team. By the way, I just like to say, there's a lot of cool girls in this band. It's almost an all-girls band. I'd like to be in an all-girls band. You guys are awesome. So let's give another round for the praise team. So we're touring New York City, and you know, we're all having a blast. You know, the boat ride to Staten Island. We spend a few minutes there, take some photos, come back. We go to Chinatown, and you know, Reverend Rendell took me there once. You know, Chinatown, Little Italy. We went to a restaurant in Little Italy. Fantastic food. We got to go down. I don't know why we're doing all of our meetings in the New Yorker. We got to go down. Anyway, so we do that. We go to a beautiful, like, old, authentic guitar shop where, you know, Shuji's with us. So we go into the back there, and he picks off the nicest classical guitar, and he's like, get some Facebook Live, you know, promoting the concert the next day. And we're just basically on an Instagram tour, really, just taking all these beautiful shots. And Elder Perry was so, you know, I got this shot of him like this, you know, cobblestone street with skyscrapers behind him. He loved it. He really loves me taking photographs of him. If you friend him on Facebook, you'll be hard pushed to find anything else other than photographs of him posing in various locations, right, you know? So he loves it. I tease him about it. And he's like, oh, you're the best photographer. It's like, yeah, no problem. Just stand there. Okay, look this way. So we're having this kind of fun together. And then I can't remember what we did in the evening, something important. Anyway, I think it was the next day that we went to, we went to East Garden. This is the core point, okay? So we toured headquarters. He saw headquarters. He saw the Manhattan Center. He saw the New Yorker. But then we went to East Garden, stopped off at Belvedere on the way. Oh, yeah, this is a great place. We'll be here tomorrow for the Family Fest. But we went over to East Garden. Now it's sort of morning time, and we meet up with Mike Chapman. And Mike Chapman gives us this kind of very, you know, dry, but, you know, somewhat pedantically, like, you know, expressed 3-hour history tour of what true parents were doing in America. So you go to, who's been to the Hyojeong East Garden Museum? Come on, guys. You got to go there. This is awesome. It is a tour of our history. So you go there, and it's like, oh, this is where father and mother sat when so-and-so came, and this is the room where they said this and that. But you're going through the journey, the history of the movement, you know. I was standing over there when we got the call from the FBI to meet them in the diner. We met with the FBI in the diner, and they said, hey, whatever you do, you got to make sure Reverend Moon doesn't leave the estate, because there's a hit on it. You know, so okay, so, but you know, try keeping father down, right? So, you know, he walks us through the room by room, the house, talking us through the history. You're going through not just a normal church's history. You're into this deep kind of Mission Impossible trilogy story of geopolitical maneuvering and spirit world, physical world, politicians, meeting Nixon, Kim Il-sung, trying to take down communism, Gorbachev, back home for a little chat with the kids, Danbury on the way, video of he's standing there looking at the family video of one child after another, greeting father and mother before father went to Danbury. Has anybody seen that? Okay. He stood there just like this. It's right there by True Parents' bedroom. And he's listening to this story. Mike Chapman's explaining, Danbury, 7,000, he's just listening and listen. I'm wondering how much more can he take, right? I'm wondering how much more can I take? But, I'm certainly wondering how much more he can take. And so then, Mike Chapman's like, you know what? Come here. I don't usually. He unlocks the stanchion to True Parents' bedroom area, and there's a sort of office there where you've got father's desk and mother's desk over here, and it's then that's just their study, and then there's the room behind there, and there's another stanchion there. That's like the holy of holies. Nobody gets to go, and he's bringing Elder Perry all the way back. Has anybody seen that bedroom? Some special people. Give it up for the special people. So we're back there, and we're looking at this room. I'm amazed by the closets. I mean, have you ever seen such a thing? It's a hallway of closets, all mirrored, and then there's a mirror here. So you're surrounded by mirrors. Any ladies like to get dressed in front of mirrors? That's where you want to go. Every angle covered. I don't know, some people don't want to see. But anyway, we're there in this bedroom, and I'm going my way, he's going his way, and he sees these two photographs on the bedstand. And I don't know, it seems to me like it's those sort of sepia photos of True Parents. It seems like a 70s, 80s shot. It feels to me like they're somewhere in Greece, outside of, it might be New York. I don't know, there's beautiful pillars behind them. And there's this one picture, I think, where father's kind of doing this. And I see those photos, I recognize them. And then we go, we finish the tour. I mean, we've gone through 3 hours of history, condensed, and Mike's like, do you have time? And I'm like, well, I think we got to kind of, So we go to the other building, the training center, where True Parents, this is their next home. And we go through the museum on the top floor there. There's the whole historical timeline. And then we go downstairs. We see the main room. And then we go to the waterfall room. And we're invited to sit down for snacks in the waterfall room. Beautiful snacks. I'm talking mixed nuts and classy chocolates, a beautiful plate of fruit, nicely cut fruit, tea, coffee, water, whatever you want, and multiple amount. It was set for a feast. It was just me, him, and Mike Chapman. And he's feeding the fish. He's just enthralled by everything. He's like, how do you water the plants? And then he's asking these questions along the way, just soaking it all in, okay? Now, he has gone through this. He's sitting down. He sits back in his chair, and he says, I get it. I get it. He said, it's a love story. He said, I've been listening to everything that Father went through and Mother Moon went through, and listening to the challenges, the struggles that they faced to establish their ministry in the United States of America, and what the children, he was picking up on it. He's going through, remember, room by room, Hung Jinim's room, the car crash, Hyojinim's room, the guitar amp, the guitar pedals, 10,000 songs. Oh, by the way, that's the guy that we're honoring tomorrow at the concert. He's connecting all the dots. He's been through this whole story, and now he's like, it's a love story. He said, I'm listening to this whole history, but when I was in the bedroom and I saw the photograph of Father and Mother Moon, I realized every photograph, Father and Mother are together. Whether there's people there or no people there, they're always together. If they're close, they're holding hands. And if they're close enough, they're like hugging. And he said, how is it first of all, possible to do what they did, to face what they faced, to overcome what they had to overcome, for the family to overcome what it had to overcome. As parents, as husband and wife, as leaders of a ministry, as people with a calling, how is it possible that they could stay together and continue to love one another? He said, surely it can only be true love, and it can only be a true love story. He shared that with the folks at Family Fest the next day and said, when I see that kind of love, I feel through that kind of love, surely a true seed can be born, can be planted for a new lineage of love. And he's looking at, Belvedere is beautiful. And it was the first Family Fest I've ever been to that it didn't rain somehow. New York's awesome. And then it's green, it's beautiful, the trees are lush. He was just, by the way, guys, most of the time he's just like, it's so green. He's like, it's so green. He was like driving up. You can imagine driving in this season up to Belvedere in East Garden. He was blown away by the tree. He's taking it all in. But he boils it all down to this point. He's looking at all the family at Family Fest, And, I'm thinking, what am I thinking? I'm thinking, it's weird that when we're doing the church part, we're not all together. We've got all the families hiding out in the shade. We've got these beautiful kind of awnings now over the staging area and the main congregation outside, right? But that's the only patch of sun. Like the sun makes its way through the awnings into the, where everybody's sitting, they're sweltering. And then you've got like another 800 people in their clumps of families, idyllic patches of shade and quilted picnic blankets and, little chests of cold drinks, and they're enjoying, but there's children frolicking all over. He's looking at this scene, and he said, this would never happen where I come from. He said, I've not seen like this before. This is truly a sight of heaven. Must be what heaven looks like. And he's connecting all these dots just by himself. It's beautiful to hear from a friend an objective view of how beautiful true parents are, to recognize their love story and to recognize that we come from that love story. Do we not? And this is the fulfillment of the story that God has been longing for 6,000 years. So how precious we are to be a part of it in this hour. Are we not? And you think of mother and mother's tear at the foundation, at the Songwa for father, and that tear must have represented not just, I lost my husband, or my children lost their father, or, now it's all on me. But I feel that tear that mother was dampening out at the Songwa, father's Songwa, was a tear that here we are sending him to heaven, but still a nation has not received him. Even had a head of state attended the funeral, it could have been claimed. The best thing we had were 2 dogs from North Korea. You saw that picture? Those are very beautiful and expensive dogs. It was a beautiful gift. It was actually perhaps the most substantial gift from any head of state in the world, from Kim Jong-un. So I believe mother is deeply, she's one-track-mindedly thinking about the 7.6 billion people and wanting to bring all of those people back to God and complete God's love story, not just between us and God, but between each other, brothers and sisters. And in talking with Steve the other day, he brought up this point, guys, it's not just family fed and Christianity that we're uniting, okay? You have to understand, when these pastors and these congregants come into our event, or they come into the room with whatever we're doing, they're not just seeing us and our youth and, all of our stuff and listening to True Mother's words. What is the other thing that they're experiencing is each other. They don't usually attend events where leaders and congregations from other denominations gather. It's unusual. It's actually just doesn't happen. And so we're not just family-fed, uniting with Christianity, but we are facilitating the unity, I believe, if it's okay to say, world, that we are working with God to help facilitate the space where Christianity itself can come together. They would say, uniting the body of Christ. That surely must have to happen to be able to fulfill the role for which it exists. Because we're here in America, people complain about a divided America, people complain about all kinds of things. And Mother looks at the clergy and says, you are the owners, you are the true leaders of America. But how can we lead if we're fragmented? How can we lead if we are divided? We can't. Guess what? The secret is they know that. They know that. We know. We need to know that. So guys, when you go to meet your, I don't want any one of you to miss the chance to go and visit a Christian church as you do your outreach. Jonathan, have you been out yet? Do it. It's not because you got to go and bring the pastor. It's not even because you got to go and bring their congregation. It's because you got to go and be there and sit there and sing with them, clap with them, give a little tithe, say thank you, because God is working there to save people. You will be revived. Meanwhile, each of you know 10 people, and if you don't know 10 people, God will introduce you to 10 within 3 days if you want to. And you have this kind of beautiful testimony from your pastor. It's very honest and real. That's the same. It's not just Reverend Dew's testimony. We know that's all of our testimony. We know these 10 people, but what about another 10 people that could come? It's not just to bring people, okay? We are doing the work for our own revival and our own salvation. Our work is not done just receiving the blessing. We need to participate in the restoration, in the final episode of God's true love drama. It is kind of dramatic. We are participants in that. And how precious and special we are. We're awesome. Like they'd say, turn to your neighbor and say, you are truly precious. You're part of God's love. Tell your partner, tell your spouse, tell your friends. We're part of God's love story. Recognize who you are. And now we're going to get out there. We've got to be armed with tickets and sign-up sheets. We've got to be armed with tickets. And who's got their tickets? Every member in Las Vegas is coming, right? But imagine if every member in Las Vegas brought 10 people or 20 people. That would be, we can do it. That should be, we shouldn't just be waiting till next Sunday to talk about tickets. It should be every day, on the phone, going out, bringing people. It's fun. Mobilizing is fun. You get to take people for coffee, for dinner, invite them to your house. It's relationship. It's love, right? So let's think like that. And I believe you are the most important people in the world right now. Yeah, we've got people coming from outside of town, kicking their new shoes around, right, helping out. But you are the most important people, Reverend and Mrs. Dew, right here. John's coming back. He's, leading the charge here. But it's you guys that have moved here, that live here, and that are building your network and foundation here. This is the greatest chance for Las Vegas and bigger than anything we've ever done in Las Vegas. And in fact, if you can tell by just how complicated the announcement is, this is maybe the biggest event we've ever done in America. All the layers of these different things. So please know that God is working, true parents are working, true mothers now praying every day, getting excited to come back home to Las Vegas to see you guys and all of your friends. So know that those with their eyes open see us, see true parents, and go, oh my God, you guys are amazing. Nobody else is doing this. You truly are true love people. That's what they see. So let us recognize that beauty and greatness, because that's who we are. And we are at that part in the movie where, that sweet spot towards the end of the movie where all of your heroes are breaking through. Amen? Amen. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Please join me in prayer.